Welcome to Rhythm and Tech, where music and technology come together to create a beat like never before. Your hosts Kay Hill and JX Mullins bring their expertise and passion for both music and technology to the microphone. Join them as they explore the latest trends, innovations, and stories at the intersection of these two fascinating worlds. So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready for a journey through rhythm and tech.
All right, we live.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back in the building again, once again, for another episode of Rhythm and Tech. My name is Kay Hill, and my partner to the right of me is
JX Mullins.
Now, I know we took a little hiatus, from the last week, but you best believe, this is what I want y'all to know. If we ever take a week off, you better believe it was for a good reason, for something very lucrative. And we're going to actually discuss it on this episode along, with some other technology and music news that, we've gathered over the week. So, if you was fiending for us last week, sorry for my choice of words, but if you was fiending for us last week and we couldn't accommodate you, we want to apologize. But we did that just to bring you something even more special this week. So one of the first things I want to mention that we have a special guest in the house.
Let's welcome Ali Goins to the show.
Thank you, fellas. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we can't afford an audience yet, but we're gonna get there. But go ahead.
Ali is a seasoned software engineer with over 25 years of experience and a passion for bridging the digital divide. During his tenure at IBM, he launched Technology Sunday, an outreach program focused on tech literacy for local African American churches. Ali has also collaborated with the Knights of Pythagoras youth program, hosting an esports tournament to promote diversity in gaming. Beside his tech experience, Ali is an accomplished musician who skillfully plays the trumpet and keyboard. Currently, he holds the senior technical support manager position for a thriving software company in Durham, North Carolina, and he continues to make a lasting impact through community outreach, and I consider him a brother.
A brother, and you gonna start off with his history at IBM? Only the real ones know that my man started with Inroads, bro. We go back that far. Yeah,
you brought back the Inroads.
You weren't ready for that, was you, bro?
The mission of Inroads is to develop and place talented minority students in business and industry and prepare them for corporate and community leadership. Man, you took it back with that.
I had to, bro. I had to.
Wow.
You were at IBM. I think you were on the tail end of IBM when I first met you.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into why. This is the main reason why we didn't do the podcast last week. Kay Hill was DJing the event. I was running the video board. We helped Ali out. It was really for a good cause. The kids showed up and showed out. I think they had a really good time. Ali, tell them a little bit about why you did it. And
So sure. Before I talk about the event this weekend, let me tell you a little bit about the Knights of Pythagoras program. So Knights of Pythagoras is the youth organization sponsored by the North Carolina Prince Hall Masons. And with the Knights of Pythagoras, we have three main objectives. Objective number one is to create opportunities for the students to win. Objective number two is to create a sense of achievement after those wins. And then the objective number three is to monitor the progress and to make winning a habit, pretty much. And so with the Masonic Lodge, we have fundraisers, and a lot of our fundraisers are banquets and that type of thing. So with the kids, I wanted to have an event that they would go to. And so basically the way I run that organization is I let them tell me what they would like to do. And the idea of gaming came up. I think we went on a field trip to see the annual Fortnite competition. And after talking to the boys, they wanted to do their own. And so we came up with the idea of an esports competition, and they chose NBA 2K23 as the game of choice. And so we just went through the motions of setting it up. We did advertisement and marketing together. And we also explored sponsorships and that type of thing. And I think it was successful in giving them a chance to win, because after the event happened, they realized that this is their ideas that we put together and made come to fruition. So just a little bit about what happened.
yeah, and just from my perspective, seeing the kids, like even the kids that lost in the tournament, they still hung around. It wasn't like they lost and bounced like bad sports.
Right.
And at the end, when you had your final champion, everybody was celebrating. So, that's one thing I was impressed with, because you don't see a lot of camaraderie these days among kids, especially in situations like that. So I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, I had a great time, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm not deep into the gaming culture like that, but seeing the kind of, excitement and the kind of enthusiasm that it brought to, the youth, that made me have a good time and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Question for you though. I keep one thing I keep hearing you mention, not in this interview, but throughout different times, I heard you mention the term digital divide. Can you break that down for people who really don't know that exists or don't have an idea of what that is?
Right. Very good point. So the term digital divide came out in the late 90s. It's when the internet culture really got popular. And then there was a realization that the people that are using the internet are not black and brown people. And there was this huge divide between the people that were using the resources. And that has many implications because as we know today, any job you have has technology, and just technology gives you so much advancement. And so IBM identified that digital divide and wanted to take action. So what they did was we started a group of people, and this was outside of our normal day jobs. But what we did was we got together at a round table and we came up with strategies of how can we narrow this divide. And that's when we came up with the idea of Technology Sunday. When we look at our history as African Americans, the church is our main avenue to get information to people. When we look at the civil rights movement, that all happened in the church. When we even go back to slavery, there was some organization within the church. And so we decided to take that same strategy and to target technology to the churches. And so basically what we did was we identified 10 churches in the Raleigh-Durham area, and we invited them to the IBM campus on a Sunday, and we did different presentations. My presentation was on e-commerce, and I just kind of taught them through how you could have the idea of selling something on the internet and how it works and what works in the back end. And after that event, there was a couple follow-on programs. For example, I taught computer literacy courses at Martin Street Baptist Church. Shout out to Martin Street. And that was an amazing experience. It was heavily matriculated by the seniors of the church. And so to have a bunch of seniors in a computer lab and they're feeling like they're back in school again, and to teach them, just basic things on how to use email or how to download an attachment, it was very rewarding. And I made some friends that, I still have today from that experience. But oddly enough, the digital divide, we tried to attack it by teaching desktop computer literacy. But over time, that actual divide got reduced by the introduction of cell phones. Mm-hmm. Cell phones was a whole nother game. And so that the older people and also all cultures of people got to get in on that same level as everyone else.
You took the words right out of my mouth. My next question was, with today's rise of, minority CEOs and, businessmen and stuff like that, do you still feel like the gap in the divide is as large as it was, back in the 90s?
So there still exists a gap, but that gap is not so much with the consumers of technology, but with the providers of technology. So, really? Yeah, because it's pretty much even as far as who uses technology. But when you look at who are your computer programmers, who are your developers, your testers, African Americans still make up less than 2% of that. So the divide's still there, but it's more divided on the production of technology instead of just the consumer.
And that kind of goes into what we've talked about with AI being programmed and having biases, because the people that are programming these neural networks, they look like me versus looking like y'all.
Right.
So even though that person may not be consciously biased, they still have, their implicit biases, and it gets put in there. And that's why a lot of companies have started, and some of them have been doing it for a while. Some of them are really pushing it now, trying to build their teams into diverse.
Right. And it's important that you put that provisioning in place in the beginning of things. Because if you take, for example, the first Apple Watch, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the first Apple Watch did not work on black people. When they put it on the skin, it the black skin did not register.
Wow.
Same thing with the faucets, the infrared faucets that you put your hands under.
Yeah.
You ever, when they first came out, I had to put the white part of my hand down just to make the faucets work, because the black hand, the infrared wouldn't notice it.
Well,
and so
So even in the 2000, it was still a whites only faucet.
right, and it's all hindsight because when they developed it, they didn't see that they would have this issue, but because
they didn't have somebody of color, testing it.
they didn't have anyone
But
of color
talking
testing
about
it.
the heart rate sensor for the Apple Watch, the FDA just had a huge meeting not too long ago to discuss the heart rate sensors, not just for the Apple Watch, but also for the, when you go to the doctor's office and they put it on your finger. They just had a big discussion with medical device makers and stuff like that to come up with a standard to make sure that it works for everybody. So that's something that still hasn't been fully resolved. I mean, some companies, they've poured money into it now when they got the bad publicity, but it's still something that goes on.
See, this is a great interview, because my next question was going to be, why is it important to seal up that digital divide? But you're telling me right now that representation is why it's important, because if you don't have anybody to represent, your race, then this technology is not going to be useful to you, because it, in layman's term, it wasn't made for you. It
wasn't made for you.
Because nobody was there to represent you.
Exactly.
So, you answer my question.
So talking about diversity and I'm jumping back to the gaming, because this is something that we've talked about before, is you wanting to promote diversity in the gaming industry. How do you think the esports tournament contributed to that cause? Like, do you think these kids are now motivated to go out and pursue some job, some STEM jobs, or go to school for STEM? Or
I would like to hope so, but I don't think we've had enough to really make a difference. So you will see more esports tournaments in the future from the Knights Pythagoras organization, but what I want them to learn, for example, I want them to learn that there's many avenues in the gaming industry. It's not just programming. For example, there's game testing. There's journalism. For example, there's a commentator at most esports events and that type of thing. There's multimedia, broadcasting, voiceover. There's so many different avenues in this, and it's a billion-dollar industry that can rival even movie making at this time, as far as how much money it brings in. And it's so new that there's another divide that exists, that the best way to eliminate that digital divide is to get in the beginning. And so this is a rise of the gaming industry, so I want to make sure that we include all types of people.
How do we make the digital divide smaller for the people that's getting older, for the senior citizens and whatnot, that just want to, come home, click a button and do what they used to doing, as opposed to, how do we keep the older people up on technology and whatnot?
Yeah, I don't mean no harm, but the older people figuring it out by themselves, man.
A lot of them, some of them are, but a lot of them are so set, and this is not from a disrespectful point of view, but some of them are so set in the way that certain things are ran that they choose not to learn, because it's such a process. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how do we close that gap? You know what I'm saying, with the older people and whatnot?
And to be honest, that's why I feel like youth programs like the Knights Pythagoras are so important, because the old that are set in their ways, I don't think they're going to change. And so it's just important that we start with the younger generations that are going to grow old, because if you're over 60 and if you're not on Facebook or sending attachments, then you're probably not going to do much more after that in terms of technology.
One thing that I've noticed is, and I don't think it's so much older people not getting it. Like my parents, they're in their mid to late 70s. Mm-hmm. When they first got on Facebook, like 5-6 years ago, they were nailing it. but it's gotten more complicated now with the security measures because, you know, with all the hacks.
That's what I mean there. Yeah,
more layers have been added and more complications. Like my mom calls me at least once a week. Like I've got her set up on 1Password. So, you know, she's only got to remember that 1Password, and then it takes care of everything else, because for a long time, her accounts were literally the same password. Like she had 500 accounts, and then I get an email from haveibeenpwned.com, and her name was in a breach, and literally every site she's on has been hacked. So I got her on 1Password where, you know, it auto generates her password, but she only has to remember that one main password. But even with that, when she's trying to log in to Facebook, you know, it'll ask for, you know, is this you? You know, go to your email, click this. Yep. Like, do you see any way of breaking it down for older adults, or do you think that's just here to stay and we just have to handle younger people coming up?
I mean, I think it will be broken down, but it takes technology. For example, as far as the input output, an older person is more likely to be successful with voice recognition than
I was just about to say that. Go ahead.
A mouse and a keyboard.
Yeah.
And so I have my parents with Alexa, and they call her Lexus, but that's okay. She listens.
My stepdad says the same thing.
Yeah.
Lexus, turn on the light.
And it works for them. So I think it's the technology will change to kind of bring them in, but as far as their mindsets and their willingness to adapt to it, you almost have to trick them in a sense by providing them with this voice controlled stuff instead of telling them that, hey, you're using this new app that does XYZ. Just tell them how to use it, let them use it, and let them get the benefits from it.
Well, fortunately for me, I'm not in that stage yet with my parent. My mother's 60, 66. She her career is QA, sharp as a tack. She stay up on technology more than I do. Like, you know, I gotta call her and ask how to program something sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And
Good.
You know, for her to be deep in her 60s like that, you know, it's real admirable that, you know, she still got the hunger to be up on, you know, new stuff like that. It's real impressive. I know one day we might have to cross that road, but right now, you know, fortunately, you know, we're not there. So when I do talk about the older people, I'm definitely not talking about everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's a section of seniors out there that I'm not saying that they don't want to learn, but it's just like, look, I just want to get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think the bigger problem is the seniors that are accepting the technology is teaching them the safeguards of how to use technology, how to recognize when someone's spoofing them or trying to hack them.
And
stuff,
that's why I asked. That's why I asked, because that's who they target the most.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of seniors don't know how to go in and look at an email real good and see that it's off one letter, or you know, the dot is in a different place, you know.
But when that's your problem, you have come a considerable amount of way, because like I mentioned with those classes, we were teaching them how to send an email, how to do basic things. So applause to the seniors. They've really come a long way with technology.
Yeah, I mean, seniors can definitely get it in, because I remember my mom's mom back in the mid 90s. Like, we got her a computer. Well, I think my uncle got her the computer, and you know, she was sending him emails and stuff like that. And she was, you know, that was what, 30. Mm-hmm. Every time I say a year, I feel like I'm getting old. Like 30 years ago, and she was in her 70s at the time. So, you know, somebody in their 70s, in the 90s, sending emails, like, you wouldn't expect it.
Right.
But, I mean, I can even say now with me, I get frustrated with myself sometimes. Like, I'm trying to do something in an app, and I can't figure it out. And I know it's here. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask nobody. And I was like, this must be what it feels like when you cross that threshold.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So let's move on to the other part of our podcast. We've talked about the technology part, but you are also a musician. I've seen you play several times, several different clubs. You play with a bunch of different bands. You play with him, NBC 17.
Oak City
that
Sessions.
man play with me in a lot of spots, man. Yeah, you play horn, you play keys, bruh. And that's the only thing that I know. It's probably some other stuff that you play. You know
He
what
played
I'm
the
saying?
sax.
He does
no,
play
I don't
the
know
sax,
about the
you know what I'm
sax, but
saying?
I'm mean on a harmonica. I'll put that in
See,
there.
I ain't even know
I
that.
forgot about the harmonica.
I didn't even know that, yo. Like, wow.
So how does technology play into your music life?
With technology and music life, they've always went together. For example, I learned electronic music from my man here to my right, K Hill. He probably doesn't realize it, but standing behind him, watching him use a 4-track recorder, and I went to my parents. I had to get one for my birthday, and that really has given me an advantage all throughout life, even with my day job. For example, I put on the meanest presentations of anybody there because I know how to do video editing from the music production and that kind of thing. So I use it any chance I get to get an edge. And it actually played a good role in the esports tournament because I mentioned that we had sponsorships and partners. I was able to go around to local businesses and create commercials for them to get some sponsorship dollars. And then during the downtime of the tournament, we were able to play those commercials. And that all ties back to my my music education and also the music network. For example, we created a commercial for the esports tournament, but the beat used in that commercial was produced by a local producer named DCM. And because he was able to provide me that royalty-free music, I can create a sponsored ad for it without having to worry about royalties. Yeah. So without that connection, I wouldn't have been able to get the commercial out. And the beat was slamming too, if y'all check it out.
Yeah. So when you dropping an album?
Me, that's crazy because I actually been thinking about it. You like read my mind. At one point I had aspirations of becoming a nerdcore artist, right? Where I never heard an album written by a software engineer about software engineer type stuff. And so I wrote one particular song about how I never take vacation on the holidays. And it's funny because I recently switched jobs. I moved from being a QA manager to a technical support manager. And in my going away Zoom, someone brought up this song and I had to perform it in front of 60 coworkers. But they loved it. And so I'm not used to people actually liking my music, but I think that nerdcore is my lane there.
Yo, you'd be surprised how big of an audience that it is out there for what you're talking about, bro.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it ain't and I say this respectfully, like it ain't just nerds that are listening to it, man. It's folks that are looking for something different, that are looking to be educated. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's looking for that type of stuff. You know, it's nerdcore is a genre. And the crazy thing is nerd don't mean the same thing it meant when we was growing up. Yeah. You know, it still means somebody that's extremely smart, but the nerds are like kings now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because the nerd, matter of fact, I'll say this, the nerds have actually shifted the culture. You know, if you're the type of person that wants to evolve. Right. You know, if you're the type of person that want to keep it real all your life or whatever, then nerdcore didn't do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're the type of person that's up late at night, always looking to learn something new, always trying to build on, you know, what you have and, you know, just trying to expand, you know, your mindset, whether it's for financial reasons or whether it's just for knowing. Nerdcore is one of the things that you will be looking for. So, nah, bro, I definitely say jump out there. You know what I'm saying?
You might hear something. So since your first episode on ChatGPT, I've used ChatGPT and I do have an outline for an album. So I just got to spend some time and develop it. So, you know, you never know. You might hear something from Ali Big House. That's my rap name.
You know, you know, and the crazy part is some of your favorite rappers, man, are considered nerdcore rappers by certain people. Like Lupe Fiasco, one of the first people that I think of. You know what I'm saying? Like Lupe is dope, but it's like his lyricism is so over your head that people just automatically, you know, put it in the nerdcore audience and whatnot. Even though he talk about some real life stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's just that his vocabulary and, you know, his context is so complex at times that they just automatically, you know, throw him in that nerdcore category or whatever. Or maybe I'm just on the island by myself.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a lot of rappers out here, man, that they just, you know, they automatically put them in that category anyway because they on something different and not just your regular, you know, everyday run of the mill. Yo, I came up in the hood, you know what I'm saying? You know, my man's got killed. You know, anybody that come with something different like that, they kind of put them in that. They try to put Kanye West in that box at one point. You know what I'm saying? So
the thing is, for me, like nerdcore, like I've heard the term nerdcore before, but I've always said, as long as when I listen to a song, I can feel a soul in it, I'll listen to it. Mm-hmm. It's just like today at work, I went from Metallica to Limp Bizkit to Miles Davis. And then I think I went Snoop Dogg. Like if you look at my title generated, my mix, like it's all over the place, and it's songs that when I listen to them, I can feel the soul. And I can listen to some people would be like, "Oh, you need to hear this song," and I listen to it, and I'm just like, I don't feel nothing in it. But other songs, it don't matter what genre it is. Like if I can feel that soul, I'm sold. Just like you talking about Lupe Fiasco. Like when I heard Kick Push, I'm not a skateboarder, but I love that song. Like I felt like I was a skateboarder.
And see, my mind's so jacked up, right? When I first heard Kick Push, I thought it was a song about hustling. Like the way that he spit it, the way the beat sounded, the tone of the song, it sounded like another drug story. I was like, yo, this song is dope. It took me 2 years to figure out he was talking about skateboarding. I wasn't familiar with skateboarding culture at the time. Yeah. I didn't know the lingo, you know what I'm saying? The aerials and barriers or whatever that he was talking about. I didn't know none of that stuff. I didn't skateboard growing up. But in Durham, skate culture is big. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I found out. I was like, wait a minute, this man is talking. Because I had students in the beat making lab that I was doing. They used to skateboard all the time. Mm-hmm. When I started hearing them talk about, you know, different stuff, you know, in the skate world and whatnot, I'm like, wow. And now I listen to Kick Push, I'm like, Kick Push, you kick push the skate, man. Oh my God, man. Like I felt so stupid, you know what I'm saying? But it goes to show you how good of a rapper Lupe Fiasco is. Like,
because you really could put anything that you want in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like I thought it was a song about hustling. You know what I'm saying? He's from Chicago. Yeah. You know, I just automatically put him in that box. But this song was about skateboarding. It was a hard song about skateboarding, yo.
Oh, the beat went real hard.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a skateboarder, but my mama wouldn't let me.
Wow.
She was afraid I was going to get hurt. And the one time I got on a skateboard, I got hurt.
Golly.
Oh, that's just like the one time that I got on a motorcycle, I flipped it.
Wow.
And I still got scars.
So what you got coming up, bro? What you got in the works other than your debut album?
So with the gaming tournament, we're going to repeat that again in September. We did NBA 2K23. So next we're going to do Madden. We're going to have a Madden tournament going on.
And this is for kids 8 to 18, right?
This is for kids 8 to 18. Now, I did get a lot of requests from the 18 and over. They want to play NBA 2K23. So I talked with a local restaurant and bar today that wants to work with me on that to put that on for the older players. So hoping I can get that out. But as far as the direction of the Knights Pythagoras, I'm going to leave it up to the Knights. When we meet, whatever suggestions they want to do, I'm going to get the Masons are going to get behind them, and we're going to make it happen so that they can get that sense of achievement.
The Knights, they're 8 to 18, right? Mm-hmm. So if any of our listeners want to be a Knight and they're that age, or if they're parents and have kids, how can they reach out to you to get more information about the Knights program?
So the Knights Pythagoras program, it's a national program, but it's regulated per state. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the state of North Carolina, you'd want to go to nckop.org, and there's a form you can fill out there. And based on where you are, they'll pair you up with a Knights Council, and we can get you in that way.
So what area does your council that you're involved with represent?
So we represent the 13th Masonic District, and that includes the counties of Wilson County and Greene County, and we have some nights from Nash County as well.
Now, we can't forget our host for the show, our MC for the show, Eternal.
Oh, yeah.
He showed up and showed out like...
Oh, my God, he did an amazing job. I mean, he really commentated those sports games. And
he was so live, man. Oh,
wow. I tried he had to use the bathroom at one point, and I tried to relieve him, and I just could not reproduce what he did. I just kind of sat still.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I just sat still until he came back because I just couldn't talk. But man, so he's gonna be an integral part of everyone that we do because he really made it happen.
Yeah.
Shout out to Eternal, the MC.
Yeah, because I was behind the screen, so I couldn't see him, and he did a great job letting me know like which screen he was going to. But I got caught up in what he was saying, and he was like, "Oh, we're panning to station C," and I'm still on B because I'm listening to what he's saying about the game. Like it was a real game. So
that's what I'm saying. It felt like a real game. Like this dude was hype, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it made the kids feel important because he was hyping their shots. Even the ones on the losing team, he was hyping them up, and you could really tell that they were soaking that up.
Yeah, and he was calling the game, like the players in the game, like it was a real game.
Right.
And talking trash to the players like they were really there. So
yeah, some of the older Masons that have never participated in video games at all, they really enjoyed just standing around and watching the basketball game.
Yeah.
He does a lot of programs with the youth. This was like a walk in the park for him. He did a great job, man.
Awesome job.
But that's what he do, man.
Shout out to Eternal.
Yes, sir. Ali, I mean, you don't have to go, bro, because we definitely want you to stay and rock out with us and whatnot. I mean, hell, you're supposed to be a third member of this daggone joint. You know what I'm saying? If you ask me. Is there anything else you want to mention or bring up? You know what I'm saying? Before we, move on to different parts of the show.
Yeah, well, since you give me a platform, I want to take advantage of that.
Okay.
I also have a scholarship for young women.
Okay.
I lost my sister at the beginning of February 2020, and we have a scholarship in her honor. It's for Wilson area or in the Triangle women. We have 3 awards. We have a HBCU scholarship, we have a Wilson Community College scholarship, and she went to Central, so we have also a North Carolina Central scholarship. So applications are out. Go to mggscholars.org.
Okay.
We're taking applications until I believe it's the end of May. So definitely go out and apply.
And y'all do an awards presentation every year, right?
Yeah, we do a virtual awards presentation for the winners.
That's awesome, man. That's real awesome.
Yeah, thanks guys for this platform.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on, man, and teaching me some new stuff that I had no idea about. I definitely didn't know about the water sensor or the Apple Watch and whatnot. Like that really sparked me up, man. Like I can't believe that was something that really happened, but at the same time, I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying?
It's left us out, bro.
Real informative. Like, definitely appreciate you, bro. This ain't the last we're gonna hear from you, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't get off that easy.
Hey, just let me know.
Definitely don't.
Appreciate you guys.
So look, I wanna get into my app of the week. It's really not an app of the week. It's more like a site of the week.
It's a web app of the week.
Is it a web app?
Yeah.
Okay, man. Listen, I might be late to the party. Matter of fact, I've probably been late with every app that I've bought up in these episodes, but I don't care. This is when I discovered it. So, I like to think that it's somebody else out there that, don't know about, these certain apps as well. My app site for the week is tinywow.com. That's tinywow.com. It's a site that has a bunch of resourceful apps. It has PDF editors. It has JPEG to PDF editors. You know how you can crop yourself out of a picture and have a solid background or whatnot, for your bio or your LinkedIn, profiles and whatnot. It has that. It'll allow you to edit videos, to change videos to GIFs. You know how some of y'all cats out there love to make memes out of, TV shows and stuff like that. It has apps for resizing videos, for converting videos. What else? Excel to PDF files. Gosh, just so much stuff, so much useful stuff. Anyway, background removers, photo restoration, extract text from image. That's one of my favorite ones, man, because at my job, they always want notes and stuff like that, man. And, instead of typing everything over, I could just go in, copy and paste from a picture and paste that app, into our chat program and whatnot. They got AI image generators and stuff like that. We never really touched on the AI image generator neither. And we definitely need to touch on that on one episode and whatnot. I mean, we might have talked about it, but we really didn't go into it. But anyway, tinywow.com. That's my site of the week. I'm hyped. I'm pumped up about it and whatnot. Now, whether some of these apps charge or not, I'm not sure if every one of them, are free or not, but they are there and they are very, very resourceful. So that's another reason for us to not have an excuse for anything.
So one thing that I want to talk about this week is an Apple Music app that's coming out. And I said that right, an Apple Music app that is coming out.
An Apple Music app?
So
exclusive to Apple?
Yeah.
Okay.
So March 28th, Apple Music is dropping the Apple Music Classical app. It's an app that is straight classical music.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Yo, that's
so everything is going to be high def. It's supposed to be easier to find because sometimes in the streaming platforms you get lost trying to find stuff that you really want.
Yeah, because they probably have a lot of the same titles and whatnot.
Right. So this one, they actually bought this company, like Ali was talking about earlier. Bigger companies buying smaller companies. Apple bought this company called Primephonic that had an app that was just classical music, completely high def. It's 192 kilohertz, 24-bit, high-res, lossless, and all of it is going to be in spatial audio. I know a lot of people don't talk about spatial audio. I love spatial audio, and that's just, I don't know if you've used it, but it's just listening and you feel like the music is around you. Like, I love listening to spatial audio. But one thing that I have at work is I've got ADHD, and I always have a tough time listening to music with words or podcast. Like, I can't even listen to podcasts when I'm at work. So a lot of times I end up listening to classical music, one, just for ideas for like sampling and stuff like that, but also because, studies have shown that certain classical music pieces can put you in a different phase in your mind. Ali probably knows a little bit about this. Having this all in one app where I can go find it is going to make it a whole lot easier for me. I can't wait. I've already signed up for the pre-order. It requires that you have an Apple Music subscription already. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I wish they would come out with an Apple Music instrumental. Cause I hit you up and was like, can you tell me what's the instrumentals? Cause I haven't been able to find that many good instrumentals on Apple Music. You hooked me up with Tidal. I found a lot on Tidal. What's the artist that you told me about?
My man Yamin Somali, hip hop producer.
Really dope. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Just so when I'm at work, I can zone out, or even when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I can zone out. Like, some people laugh about classical music, but as I've gotten older, I've greatly gained an appreciation for classical music, and that's mainly because I found the right pieces that literally take my brain to another phase when I'm trying to do creative work, or I'm trying to just do focus work, or just fall asleep.
Well, as far as instrumentals, in this day and age, for example, Eternal, right? Mm-hmm. When him and Ali freestyle at the gaming joint, right? I was trying to help him find a beat. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just going to find any song that I want, and I'm going to extract the vocals out of them right here. And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I thought you had the actual...
No, I didn't have that beat.
So what do you use to extract the vocals?
The Serato stems. It'll take the vocals out. Matter of fact, you know what? Here's a little gift to the ones that are listening, since we don't have a big audience right now. I go ahead and drop a jewel out there. When I DJ certain events, and I know they have, it ain't even whether they have Wi-Fi or not. I use my hotspot. And I DJ directly from Tidal. I don't even pull songs off my hard drive no more. I DJ directly from Tidal. And the reason I do that is because you'll always get somebody in the audience that'll come up and ask you for some of the weirdest stuff. And even though, as a DJ, you want to play whatever you want to play, you still work for the audience. Like, as long as it's something that can fit the vibe, I'll go ahead and squeeze it in. But I always want to be able to be like, okay, I have that. You know what I'm saying? And, DJing from a streaming platform allows me to have almost any song that, the audience requests. Not only am I able to do that, but Serato Stems will let you drop the vocals or drop the beat or drop the drums or whatever, even though you're pulling it from a streaming platform.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's crazy, right? And you're able to record your set while you're doing it right then and there live.
Well, I noticed, after the fact, like when we went and grabbed some food after the joint, you were playing one of the mixes that you did. And I didn't know if you had recorded it separately with your phone.
I just did it with my phone. Yeah, I just did it with my phone. I just wanted to test it so I can go back and do it for real later on. Because see, the thing about DJing, especially with this new technology and software and whatnot, you'll come up with some ideas on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Like your mind is constantly spinning and whatnot, and you'll come up with some ideas on the fly. And I just go ahead and record them ideas and go home and do it for real later on. So yeah, man. One thing about it, man, I don't want to be one of those, musicians that don't embrace the technology. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be a slave to it, but at the same time, I don't want to be, an old stogie that's left behind because I didn't take advantage of, some of the stuff that we have out here today. You know what I'm saying? But, don't get it twisted. I can DJ with vinyl, but I choose not to. I know how to use records. I have songs on my, on my hard drive. I know all the old school ways and all that stuff, but hey man, I'm gonna do what's easy for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a staff. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do what helps me rock the party, what helps me get in and what helps me get out, and what helps the people jam. Cause that's my main objective. So
that's what's up. So while you were talking, I was looking up the Serato Stems program. Cause I look and I see, and I'm excited about this.
I'm not. That's the crazy part. I'm not.
So they got it where you can buy it full out, the Serato DJ Suite full out for $449, but they also got it where you can do $14.99 a month. So I'm about to pay $14.99 a month and become DJ JX. Or should it be DJ X?
Jalcom X.
Like I'm over here pricing the Rain 4 Serato mixer, DJ controller. Nah, I'm done. It's $1,700.
Nah, man, I'm gonna tell you something though. Two things, man. Even though I use it, I'm still on the fence about it and whatnot because I'm like, dang, man, like you can strip somebody's song down now, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time, I'm gonna contradict myself real quick, bro, and then we're gonna, move on. Every time I think of sampling, I think about that scene in the Tina Turner movie where she in the studio with Phil Spector, and it's like 100 people, like in an orchestra and whatnot. Like all these people came together just to make one jam.
Yeah.
And then somebody come by and just hit the sample button, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like these people don't work like all for days and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like to put this composition together and you just come by, hit the sample button, and you know what I'm saying? Rock it however you want to, man. Like I can't help but be like that, but hey man, we got a jam, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is, and I swear we talk about sampling every week, but for me, sampling to me is honoring that original composition.
Not when you don't pay them.
Well, I mean, we talking about in the spirit, not in the financial.
Man, listen, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It be some stuff I sample. I don't know who did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just sample from. I'm keeping it a buck, okay? I don't just sample from records. I'm sampling if I hear something and I think it sounds good, and I hit that button and I turn it into something dope. I'll go back and do my research later. You know what I'm saying? Now I will say this. That's how I became a fan of, jazz musicians. That's how I became a huge James Brown fan, because I went back and did the research later. Because one thing that is fun is when you do, hear something that's been sampled and you go back and hear the original and you found out that it was a really great song.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't always start out like that. It doesn't always start out with me, finding who the musician is first or whatever. Like I'm just going for straight vibe and straight feeling. I don't always do that. That's what I used to do a lot when I was younger though. I used to turn on the radio, a song would come on the radio, and I just hit the sample button. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's singing the song, who the record label is, nothing.
That's how we used to do it. Like, what's the bookstore in Raleigh? The Reader's Corner.
Yeah.
Where everybody go. And I remember back in the day, we would go and literally just pick up an armful of records when it was 25 cents a piece and just throw it on, start sampling. And then go back and say, oh, well, that's Linda Ronstadt or, Linda Ronstadt always had samples.
I couldn't find nothing from her.
You didn't try hard enough.
I tried hard. Yeah, I did. I ain't saying she had nothing. I'm saying I couldn't. Let me tell you who ain't got nothing that you can sample. And I'm going to go ahead and take the heat, yo. I'll take the bullet. Jermaine Jackson, bro. Jermaine Jackson ain't got nothing you can sample, dog.
I wouldn't even think to sample him.
Straight up. I take the bullet, man. Yo, I'm done, bro.
What's your thoughts on this, Ali?
I'm about to try to sample some Jermaine Jackson.
Go ahead, bro.
You just put it up there.
Look, he gonna drop some fire.
Yeah. Challenge of the week, yo.
Challenge of the
Jermaine
week.
Jackson.
All right, I'm gonna read that one.
Make a dope beat out of some Jermaine Jackson, yo. What's the prize, bro? What's the prize, John?
I'll take you to the Cardinal down the street and buy you some hot dogs.
Deal.
Yo, shout out to the Cardinal, man. Them hot dogs was banging, man.
I mean,
God.
if you check our Instagram, you'll see the empty plate with my order tag. Cause
They didn't. Okay, here's the deal. When he was cooking them, it looked like he used hot dog buns, right? But by the time I got it, it was like toast.
It was like Texas toast.
Right, it was like hot dog on Texas toast.
Yeah, and it was thick.
God, man. Yo, I'm trying not to go back down there. I hope they close, man.
They open till 2.
Stop playing.
Yeah, they open till 2 every night.
Are there any last thoughts, bro?
I really can't think of anything. I just appreciate Ali coming through. We're gonna have you up here some more, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Appreciate
for sure. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rhythm and Tech, man. I know we got deep with you this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell somebody you love. Tell somebody you hate. You know what I'm saying? Rhythm and Tech is here to stay. I am your host, K Hill, and my partner over there is
JX Mullins.